everyone. If you're new here, my name is Jamie with Our Mindful Garden. Here I love to talk about all things secular homeschooling, social emotional learning, and mindfulness. So today we're going to be talking about setting goals for the new year and kind of reflecting on 2022, what I learned from it, what I will be keeping in 2022, and what I'm going to be bringing with me into the new year. So to begin, the one thing reflecting on 2022 that I will be leaving behind is being laid back and relaxed in our homeschooling. When I first got into homeschooling, I really loved the idea of being able to be laid back and not adhere to a schedule. That was one of the things I was super turned off about with public school, is like filling up every single minute with something to do. Um, but I think this year I finally realized I'm too type B for that. And I really do need some kind of routine. And I think my kiddos thrive off of it too. So we dropped the relaxed homeschooling bit and got into a routine within the past couple months. And it has truly helped us so much. The kiddos have a better idea of what their day is going to look like. And for me, it just really helps me focus and hone in on like what's important, what is a priority, and getting those priorities done so we can spend the rest of the day just enjoying ourselves or doing the things that we want to do. So that's one thing that 2022 taught me, is we got to stick with routine. Maybe ideally a schedule down the line, but right now with having such young little kids, it's not really going to work for us. So we're just going to stick with that routine and just kind of roll with it for now. Another thing I got really good at in 2022 was saying no to plans. I know that it's a common misconception for people who don't homeschool, at least, that homeschoolers are unsocialized and probably don't have very many friends or people to hang out with, but that couldn't be further from the truth. And I think if you're a homeschooler, you probably could agree. There are so many things going on around us. Every day we could probably have something planned and have our schedules full. And I just realized that was not going to work for us. We live kind of further away from the activities or the people that we hang out with. So it's at least like a 30-minute drive for us to get to where we need to be. And while it's super fun and we love it, we just can't be packing every single day with some kind of event or activity. So learning to say no has really, really helped me get into the routine that we are thriving off of right now, and just kind of makes our days more gentle. So as far as our goals for 2023, I recently heard a quote by James Clear, who is the author of Atomic Habits, which is a fantastic book. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend it. But he said something that really stuck with me, which was make plans big, but make progress small. And that's really how I feel like I've been accomplishing anything, just like anything in my day to day, or with my business, or with homeschooling, or, with relationships in my life. Instead of just having like this big, huge goal that I'm trying to work on, I break it down into just like smaller bits day by day, because that's where the progress truly is. So for us, these goals that I have, I'm not really stuck to the outcome of them. So I'm not really attached to the outcome. And I think that's where mindfulness really comes into play, is I'm just trying to set these goals that I think are realistic and they're going to help us. And we're just going to take it day by day. So our first goal is to stick with lessons 4 times a week. Works really well with our schedule because we can get in the core subjects, but still have plenty of time to do all the things that bring us joy too, like the arts and crafts and science experiments and reading and things like that. Our next goal is to be mindful about getting outdoors. This has always been a pretty big priority to us, but in the winter it can get pretty hard. Like last week it was -20, -30, -40, and we didn't really get outside much at all. And if you can tell, I'm getting over a cold right now. So that did not bode well for us. So we've been getting lots of time outside now this week, now that temperatures have risen a little bit, but we are just very mindful about getting outside and having fun things to do, like ice skating, sledding, hiking, and making it fun by taking snacks with us, or maybe eating our lunch. Or I always like to pack hot cocoa just to make it cozy and happy and fun. I know that 1,000 Hours Outside is a super popular program that a lot of people follow, and I think it's great because it's really encouraged people to get outside and explore more. But it's not something I specifically follow. One, just because knowing me, I would try to be very diligent about the hours, and I'd be paying more attention to making sure I got those hours in than being present with my kids and just enjoying the great outdoors. So I don't really pay too much attention to how many hours we're outside. I pay attention to having fun, making memories, making sure we get that fresh air, and just enjoying each other's company. The next goal is actually something that my oldest kiddo asked, and that is that she wants to learn how to knit. So I don't know how to knit yet. When I was 23, I took a knitting class just out of sheer curiosity and the fact that I was out of college and wanted to do something else with my time. And I learned how to make squares. So that's my experience, and that was 12 years ago. So we will probably be utilizing YouTube, which is an awesome resource, and we plan to learn how to knit. There's going to be a lot of editing in this because I keep coughing. So apologies. Sorry. The next thing that we're going to be focusing on is just an emphasis on creativity and connection. So each year I come up with a word of the year that I really try to focus on and bring myself back to every now and then when I seem to be forgetting things or just when I need a reminder. And the 2023 word of the year for homeschooling is connection. And I'm really just going to be focusing on always bringing it back to connection. So if I'm feeling like lessons are getting pushed or, like we're just not seeing eye to eye on something, I need to remind myself that my goal is to connect with my kid. And over everything, I mean, that's like the main reason we homeschool is because I want that connection and I want that loving relationship. With connection in mind, our goals aren't really placed on having an outcome or achieving something specific, but it's more so about the connection and the relationship. And so our first goal for that would be emphasizing creativity. So my kiddos really love to create and make crafts and stuff. So we're really going to make sure that we focus on getting more of those in our day to day. Another one would be playing more board games. The kiddos got a lot of board games for Christmas, which I think is going to really add some fun into our days. And we've already been playing them. And it's just been really nice because for me, I'm not really great at the whole playing make believe thing or playing with dolls. It really wasn't even my thing when I was a kid, but board games I love. And so things like that, I feel like I can still play with my kids, but in a way that everyone enjoys it. The next goal for homeschooling is letting go of expectations and tying myself to an outcome. I lose the connection if I'm tying myself to an outcome. Instead of just being present and with my kiddos and really just enjoying their company. So I'm really just going to remind myself not to have expectations. So for example, if we didn't get all of our lessons completed in a week, that's okay. Like it's not that big of a deal. We can move it on to next week and still get through it. That's just a good reminder for myself to not tie myself to the outcome, but just really work on that progress. And then finally, our last homeschooling goal is continuing to focus on mindfulness, positive affirmations, and processing emotions. That, of course, ties into being present and connecting and relationships. And I do think it's just so important. So I really want to continue to work on breathing with the kiddos, incorporate some more meditation and yoga, and then, of course, practicing positive affirmations. Okay, now I thought I'd talk a little bit about what my personal goals are for 2023, because I do think it's super important that moms are remembering to think about themselves too and doing the things that nourish their soul and make them happy. So hopefully you are setting some goals for yourself as well. My first goal is to read 20 minutes a day. I'm not going to tie a number of books onto that goal. I just don't feel like that's super helpful for me. Again, I just want to focus on the joy of reading. So however many books that may be, I will probably go over 20 minutes a day some days, but really I just want to have that goal of sitting down or laying down before bed and reading for 20 minutes. And if it goes longer, that's fantastic. Just the act of starting, even, I really feel like that helps to accomplish your goal. My next personal goal is to learn how to sew. I know that sounds really pathetic, probably in the homeschool world, because everyone seems to know how to sew. But my husband is the one who sews things in this house when it needs to be done. So for me, I'm going to be getting a sewing machine, and I have some projects that I want to be working on, and I'm really excited to start, and we'll see how it goes. My next goal is to work out every day. And I should preface this by saying I already do work out pretty often, so this is not a hefty goal for me, but sometimes I feel like I can kind of let go of it pretty easily, or I won't run on a day that I say I'm going to run, and then that can snowball pretty quickly. So my goal is to not tie numbers onto it, like run 5 miles every day, but more so do an every other day approach where one day I run, the next day I do yoga, run, yoga, and probably fit some weights in there too. But I am already a very active runner. I love running. On New Year's Day, I'm actually running a half marathon with my brother, so I'm really excited for that. It's a joy and it's a gift, and I know that I always feel so much better after I do it. My next goal is to work on my small business, but I do believe that if I just keep working on it and putting the time in, it will continue to grow. So it really is a joy for me, and I think it's important and empowering to make sure that you call the thing that you're doing, if it is a business or if you want it to be a business, what it actually is, because there's power behind that instead of kind of like downplaying it or saying it's a side hustle or something. My next goal for the year is to meditate at least 5 times a week. I like to use the Calm app because it really just helps me, because it's just super simple and it's a guided meditation and it only takes 10 minutes a day. So I do feel like that's something that I can absolutely accomplish. And my final goal of the year is to stay off social media. I know that the homeschool community really loves to utilize Instagram, and I see the benefit of that. But for me, I tried it for 6 months and I absolutely despised it. It sucked the life out of me. It sucked all the joy out of me. So I plan to remain completely off of that, but YouTube is a way for me to still utilize my creative energy and put myself out there, and it has really been bringing me joy. All right, so I figured I would finish this video this way instead, because real life mom life, my kiddos wanted to wish me a good night before they went to bed. Usually I read to them every night, but tonight my husband did, and they wanted to wish me a good night. So I ended my video abruptly, and I just wanted to finish it out now, and I'm showing up imperfectly because that's the beauty of life. And I don't know how these other homeschool moms make these videos. Can you tell me? Do you like lock your kids in a closet or something? I don't get it. The kids want to be around me all the time. So, with that, I hope you have a wonderful new year. And I was going to end the video by just talking about what my word of the year was for me personally, and that is gentle. And gentle was actually my word for last year and the year before that. But it has just been sticking with me, and I'm going to roll with it. So I'm curious, and if you feel like sharing, please let me know what your goals are for the new year, whether it's homeschool or personal or whatever it may be. And I would love to hear if you had a word of the year as well. Happy New Year.